once I got more creative and stayed true to who I am and the content that I wanted to create, I was able to build an audience that wanted to see the content I wanted to create. So I was able to build an audience that was there for me and not there for what I thought I should be creating, if that makes sense. So
hey guys, welcome to the UpNext podcast, where we are interviewing teen entrepreneurs that are making it big time in the startup world. We are asking the questions we know you want to hear. UpNext is an app made for teens where anyone can join or build a real life startup. Okay. Today we have Olivia Bokesh, age 17, from the US. She is the founder of the website Absolutely Olivia, empowering all people looking to find inspiration, as well as some great fashion and style tips, giving a voice to Gen Z, as well as a way to look and feel good inside and out. She started this website at age 14. I can't wait to get more into it. Olivia, is there anything you'd like to add?
Yeah, I'm happy to be here, and I'm happy to talk about my mission as well as work with UpNext and their very empowering platform, to come to more audiences and share audiences.
Oh, that's great. I totally agree. I think that a lot of people sometimes think that startups are like super techy, businessy, and they don't really have to be. I mean, we can have a message that we want to send, and it could be as simple as, look what I bought today,
For sure.
So we said age 14, which is already as impressive as it sounds. How did your idea work? How did you know that this is going to become like a platform?
In all honesty, this is kind of I think it's an interesting story compared to other people. My aunt one day was just like, you should start a blog to like share your outfits. And so I think like the next Saturday I did, and I did like minimal research. I just figured out, the host website I needed and then how I needed to make my blog. And I did that. And I didn't really know that it was something that you could like build a platform with until like a few months in, when I got like a follower and I was like, what is this? And I also didn't have Instagram at the time. And I would say right now, Instagram is definitely like what I focus on the most and where I get the most traffic from to my blog. But yeah, I really just started it. And it wasn't until I started getting more followers and like more comments, and I was like, oh, okay, like this can be an impactful thing. And so that's kind of when I started sharing more than just like, here's my outfit. Like I might like talk about my personal experiences in school or outside of school. And it really started with just like more taking my personal experiences and giving advice to others. And then it slowly became more of a like just overarching I guess maybe extension of myself, where I use it to, take my experiences and my thoughts and, either inform other people or entertain them or, inspire and empower them. So.
That is great. I think the moment people, have a platform that they always look so fabulous and so successful. And then people are like, oh, I want that. And then they start showing the human side of them and like, hey guys, I went through, whatever, I had a horrible day. And they're like, oh, they have horrible days too. And that's when you start like you start becoming a fan. You don't just like look at what they have to offer and it ends at that. You're like, she's a person. So I think things
exactly. I try to bring I was saying that's what I try to bring to like my page, add in, I guess, it's more of a buzzword, but the authenticity of it all and just showing people that like I don't just get dressed and like look great and have a fantastic day. Like I might look great, but I might be having a horrible day, so
yeah, never judge a book. So you said your aunt recommended you start this whole thing. Who would you consider your first mentor? What did they help you go through?
I think I would consider my first mentor maybe like other bloggers on the internet that I connected with. So like Mackenzie Morgan, she runs Styled by Mackenzie. But she definitely, and she's closer to my age. I think she's a couple years older than me. And she definitely like reading her blogs, but also getting to know her, especially once I started my Instagram. It's a lot easier to connect with people through Instagram. I was kind of like, oh, okay. And she kind of, show me that how to make content for Instagram, but also for the blog to like drive traffic, but also connect with people because she's very good at doing that. So probably her.
That sounds great. It also kind of leads me to the next question. So you said like within a week the website was built and it was already a thing. How much time did it take for you to have something that you launched? Like you built the website and then you built the Instagram. How long would you say all of that took in total?
Um, I mean, in all honesty, I feel like it's still a work in progress. I feel like I'm still figuring out things as I go, like 4 years later. But I would say like maybe like I don't know, like 6 months or so for me to like gain my footing and like get a schedule going and also, understand that I can like connect with people and it's not just something I'm doing for like my family, if that makes sense. So I would say like 6 months in total. And then obviously like it's always a learning curve, especially since I did like no research starting. I've definitely had to like go in and like look up like HTML, like coding things to try and like get my blog, which I'm not proficient in at all, but I think it definitely speaks to like how you kind of have to teach yourself. And luckily we have the tool that is the internet where we can, teach ourselves how to make the things that we're launching what we want them to be.
Yeah, I mean, learning as you do is something that is very this generation, and just, everything's at my fingertips. I can learn how to fight a bear if I want to. I'll find a YouTube video for it.
So true.
Yeah. So it took 6 months, and in all honesty, still working. And I think that that's something that everyone will obviously state that I built and I'm still building. Was any funding needed to build these versions that everyone knows today? And what would you recommend to those who don't have any money?
Yes, I would say there's funding because you have to pay the host website in order to, get the blog going. And then if you want your own domain, so I use WordPress to do my blog. And if you don't buy your own domain, you can have your website name, but then it says .wordpress.com after. So it's like, I think it's an annual payment for the domain to not have the .wordpress.com afterwards. And then I think it's either an annual or monthly payment for the host website. But other than that, I don't use like WordPress premium or anything. So I don't pay more for that. I just pay more for my domain. And I guess for people who are unable to, it's definitely not the most expensive endeavor compared to maybe other startups. But, I definitely think just like save up as much money as you can. But like I said, there are free options. You don't technically have to go through a host website, and like you don't have to get the WordPress premium, and you don't have to buy your own domain. And so you can either save up or like wait until you are able to afford those things. But I've seen people who are like super legit and they don't have their own domain. You don't need to have that in order to prove your talent, your skills, and to get draw to your website, I would say.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, you can start building yourself, and later on in time, get new features, get some kind of upgrade. There are always people that are upgrading themselves. So you have the website, and you said later on the Instagram kind of meshed with it together. So how did you get those first users? What was that like?
Instagram. So when I first got Instagram, I knew some of the other bloggers that I connected with on WordPress, because WordPress has like a feed and you can follow other bloggers. And so I went to them and I followed them, and you just engage with people and like comment. And then from there, like I would have other bloggers recommended to me by Instagram and I would follow them. And it took a lot of like, it was all organic growth, and it still is. So it's taking a lot of, it's just taking that time to like connect with people and not just like follow them, but like actually like follow them, like through their pictures, comment something that's meaningful that maybe even relates to their caption and not just their photo. And like find that point of relatability with people. And then you can really like draw people to your own page, because they'll be like, oh, okay, there's a point of similarity between us. Maybe I'll like her content, she likes mine. And then also when you want to reach people who aren't just bloggers, that gets a little trickier, because it's not like you can just go and like follow people who aren't bloggers, because a lot of people have private accounts and personal accounts. And that's actually it's a lot of word of mouth I found in the beginning, friends and family. but then also like when you meet people, you can get people that way, you know, networking and the likes. But then lately, like I think Instagram Reels have really helped me grow my non-blogger audience. I've had a few like blow up, and I've definitely gotten a lot more, you know, the people with the personal accounts who aren't necessarily like content creators themselves. So I definitely think using all the tools at your disposal to, you know, seek out people. And you can look at who people who have similar content to you are following, and you can like go and follow them, and maybe they'll transfer to your page. So
Yeah, I mean, word to mouth, I think, is something that always shows of a natural success. I mean, if people are just already talking about it, I didn't have to do or say anything, and people, you know, they want to tell other people. Also, just having the fact that the whole networking thing, you're talking to people, they know that there is an actual person behind this glamorous Instagram page. It's something that a lot of people kind of forget sometimes on platforms like Instagram.
yeah.
So doing what you do, I mean, I'm sure that you are an inspiration to a bunch of people that, you know, are seeing what you do and are aspiring to do the same. So what advantage would you say does Gen Z have, and how can they use that advantage to build their own startup?
I think Gen Z just does have the advantage of having the internet, kind of like how I talked about earlier. I was able to learn the tools I needed to build my blog. You know, it's at the tip of my fingertips, like it's a Google search away. And I think that's definitely an advantage that we have. And like, um, you know, that can really help you figure out the tools you do need to build a startup. There are tons of like free courses and YouTube videos and stuff that you can find. So I think that's an advantage we have. And then I also think we have the advantage of like, I feel like we're a very collaborative generation. So like if you see somebody doing something and you're like, oh, that's cool, like I want to do something similar, you can reach out to them. You know, we have the tool of social media, we have the ability to reach out to people that we haven't met in real life. And I think, and people are really helpful. I've never had anyone be like, no, I'm not going to help you. At the very least, they refer me to somebody else. Um, so I think that's definitely something that we have. And I also think we just also have that unafraidness to reach out to people and to ask for help. At least that's what I've come across in my experience in my generation. So I think those are definitely some of the advantages that we have for sure.
Well, firstly, I'm happy that I only hear positive experiences when dealing with other people online. When I was a kid, it was horrible. I mean, everyone was mean to one another, and it wasn't like this at all. And I really see it myself, you know, on Instagram and whatnot. There is some kind of acceptance that, you know, we're all here together on this rock that's spinning really fast in space, and
Yeah,
don't take things so seriously. So
exactly.
yeah, I'm happy that that's really how things are, and it's not just how I see them.
Yeah.
What is one mistake that you would avoid?
Um, like a mistake that I've made and would like tell someone else to avoid or
Or something that you just know you shouldn't do?
okay. I definitely think that at least from my personal experience, I feel like in the beginning, you know, you do get so focused on like the numbers and you like and like growing what you've created and because you know that's like at the end of the day that's like kind of the point is you want to reach more people, so it's like obviously don't focus on the numbers but also like that is kind of essential, especially if you're like a business or something or a brand, like you have to get those numbers in order to get, you know, sales. But I definitely think a lot sometimes it can take away from the authenticity and the genuineness of your content. So I definitely think I started creating posts that I knew people would like and wasn't necessarily something that was me or what I was proud of, if that makes sense. So it's like I like to be a little bit more creative with my photos. I'm not technically like I'm not always the everyday like, oh, here's my outfit of the day, like um you know, like on like a sidewalk. Like I like doing more like maybe like editorial and like studio shoots, which kind of is different from like a lot of people who do the same thing that I do. And so I definitely started like out with doing more of the like less creative shoots and just showing off my outfits. I think because I was like, this is what I see everyone else doing. But I found that once I got more creative and stayed true to who I am and the content that I wanted to create, I was able to build an audience that wanted to see the content I wanted to create. So I was able to build an audience that was there for me and not there for what I thought I should be creating, if that makes sense. So you create an audience that does want to like see the real you. And I guess if you're a brand and a business, it's the same thing. Like you get an audience that genuinely wants the product that you want to sell, if that makes sense.
Oh,
so
it totally makes sense. I get
yeah.
it. I think it's something that you, as you said, you find out over time. Like at some point you think, okay, people like this, I'll do this. But then you start doing what you actually like and you find this niche audience, these people
Exactly.
that like the same thing that you like. Like you're not the only one, which is somewhat comforting and also like surprising, which is
for sure.
always in a good sense. So what would you say is an advantage and a disadvantage that you experience being a young entrepreneur?
I would say an advantage would be I feel like sometimes I have a little bit more time than my older counterparts because I'm in school. That's what I do, and I have extracurriculars, and I'm not necessarily having to. I have the privilege of also like not having to support myself entirely, and I know there are some people who don't, but I just have that advantage. I think of like time because I'm headed to college next year, and then like career after that, and I know that once you get there, your time just it gets smaller to do it. Yeah. So I think definitely an advantage is time. And also like the advantage is just the fact that like I am in the generation that like loves social media and uses social media. So that collaboration is there and the ability to connect with people my age is like crazy. Like I have friends like all over the United States and some people even in like Europe and India and other places. And it's really cool to be able to connect. So I think that's an advantage because it just opens my eyes to other experiences and also I don't know, create something that I can like be inspired by myself. And then I guess maybe a disadvantage is, you're young. This is probably what everyone says, but you're young. People are just kind of like, oh, like she's just doing like,
she doesn't know
her outfits. Like, okay, she's like writing little captions. Like it can be like, people can kind of demean it a little and just see it as like, oh, it's like a hobby. Like, it's not something she'll do forever. Like not necessarily something she's passionate about or something to do. So I definitely think that's definitely a disadvantage. And like, you do feel like you have to prove yourself and be like, no, like what I'm doing is like a legit thing. Like, so I think just having to work a little harder to prove that what you're doing is, just as great as people either with more followers or people who are older and doing it in magazines for money, so.
Yeah, exactly. I think some people are big talkers and they think that they can say whatever and understand the situation so quickly just because of someone's age. And if anything, I think that, within the next few years or so, people are going to start being like, whoa, she's 12. I don't want to mess with her. Like that's going to
for sure.
Should be. So with just like you said, you've met a bunch of different people from all over. As we know, social media is global, luckily. And which entrepreneurs do you find inspiring you the most these days?
Well, the first one that comes to mind, I know it's like pretty recent. And I can't remember her name. I really should know her name. I've read enough articles about it. But I guess the founder of Bumble, who recently became, I think, the youngest person that I can't remember. It's really cool because she's a woman and she's like the first woman to do what she's done in her space. And also I found her story really empowering because she she came from a background where she was the co-founder of Tinder. And then, she was sexually assaulted in her workspace and she took that and transferred it and created Bumble where, women make the first move. And I think something about that's really empowering. And the fact that she's been so successful with it. And then Yes. I can see her in my head. I can see her face.
She's there.
And then I guess another would be Izzy Lapidus, who's actually one of my close friends. But she's like started her own like STEM business. She's really cool. And we're like friends, and she's really inspiring and empowering because I'm like, oh, you're like my age, like, and you're doing so much. I feel like there's like just a plethora of people who like are my age or like close to my age, and I'm like, whoa, like you're like really like out there like killing it and doing it, and it makes me want to, you know, work harder. And it also makes it reaffirms my ability to do it myself, I guess, because sometimes you do get doubtful where you're like, oh, I can't no, I can't do this because I'm so young. But then you see someone else doing it and you're like, oh wait, like I can do that. I can do that thing that I've wanted. So I don't know. There's so many in my brain and I can't pick out many, but you know.
Well,
I know.
two of many is already good. And I like the fact that you picked someone that you personally know. I think that that's always something that gives us a bit more inspiration than just Jeff Bezos is a millionaire, so let's love him.
Yeah.
But I think that that's really something that we all aspire to look for in someone that inspires us. You know, someone that's kind of like me and makes me shows me that things are possible. So I think that that was a great example. And we actually didn't have anyone mention Whitney Wolf as a inspiring entrepreneur. So I'm happy that that came up at some point.
Yeah.
So let's say I am an average teenager looking to build my startup, my platform, and I have $100. What or where or how would you tell me to use this money, if at all?
I guess with my personal experience, just because mine is more of like a platform rather than like a startup, like I know other people you've interviewed. I would say maybe like don't spend it. Find as many free options as you can. You can take iPhone photos, writing captions on Instagram. You can do that in your notes app. Like you don't need some fancy software to like write what's in your brain. Um, and I know a lot of people who like have done really well without the professional equipment of like cameras and like lighting and stuff. But I definitely think, you know, if like more content creation is what you're into, it could definitely be worth it to, you know, save up and get a nice camera or save up and like get nice lighting. Cause iPhone photos with nice lighting, like
lighting is everything.
Yeah. And like you can get really cheap lighting sets for like $25 on Amazon. That's what I have. I have a whole backdrop setup that was like $45. But I definitely think maybe save it in the beginning, take on as much as you can, without having to spend money, because there are definitely so many options. Whether you want to do like YouTube, you can do that on your phone. You know, take pictures, you can do it on the phone. Yeah, like I said, writing on your blog. You don't necessarily have to pay for a host website or pay for the premium version or pay for a domain. You can do that all for free, and then you just put the link in your Instagram bio and it's there, like it's free. So I would definitely maybe like just start saving it for when you do want to scale up and get the like better lighting or the better camera, and when you're ready to take that leap or buy your domain. But I definitely think with what I do and like building more of a creative platform, that isn't necessarily trying to like garner sales or like get people to join, I guess, other than like following. You know, you can definitely save it and just wait until you're ready to spend it on something that it's a worthwhile investment.
Yep, invest in yourself, build it slowly.
Exactly.
Until you know you feel like this is the time to spend what I have. So as you said before, you are a content creator. We haven't interviewed as much as we'd like, so we are always happy to have, you know, a new face. And there is a question that I don't ask the rest of the entrepreneurs that I talk to. What would you say is like the most attention grabbing as a content creator? You want someone to not, you know, swipe up, that you want them to stay at the content that you've created. How do I do that?
I would say it's a mix of doing what's trendy, but adding your own personality into it, if that makes sense. Like if I'm thinking back to what I know as my more attention grabbing posts in the past few months, they are the ones where maybe I'm wearing something a little bit more trendy, but I've like tied a ribbon around my neck as a choker and done my hair kind of crazy and my like eyeshadow very bright and vibrant. And like, I know that that's one of my more attention grabbing posts. So I think, because obviously people like trends, they're trends for a reason. Like, so when you are content creating, there is something to be said for creating in a similar way to what is trending at the moment. But at the same time, I think if you really want it to be attention grabbing and really want people to be like, hey, I like her, there has to be something different to it. And I think, everyone's personality is unique. So add your own like spin on it, I guess. And I definitely think like right now just having like vibrancy is really like in colors really grabs people's attention. With all the different colored rings that people are wearing now, like people very much like color now. But then I think in terms of like your writing and like words and like your captions and your blog posts, I definitely think just being real is very attention grabbing. And maybe you're doing a fashion post, but maybe you also talk about like how you didn't feel so great in the outfit, or like it's trendy, but it just like it doesn't look good on you or something. I think just being like true to you and being real like in your captions, and also speaking directly to the audience, if that makes sense.
Totally. Like you're talking to a friend.
There's a very like specific way of doing that. Like instead of speaking in general terms, say like you're speaking to them. And I think sometimes people see that as too casual. But I think it really enables people to personalize your content and find relatability in what you're writing for themselves when you're speaking directly to them. So I think a combination of, content that, balances trends with like who you are and your personality. And then, because, if it looks like everything else, there's nothing entirely intention grabbing about it. And then, writing captions that are relatable and writing blog posts that like people are like, oh, okay, like this is either making me think, or oh, this is inspiring me, or oh, like this is motivating, or this makes me want to get up and do something, or this makes me want to go out and like style some new pieces in my closet, like or go out and make change. So I think just a combination of all that is really what's attention grabbing.
Yeah, something personalized, something that makes you think. I like that. That's something that people should keep in mind. So doing what you do and, trying to spread as much good as possible, how important do you think it is for young entrepreneurs to think about social change when creating a business?
In my opinion, I think that is like one of the most important things that you should think about, which, it's something I think about probably every day, is like, how could this person be doing more? How could I be doing more? Like, or like, oh, this person's doing it really well. They're really advocating for social change while also, being true to themselves. Because I think there's a way to do it where it seems kind of, fake. But I think it's the most important thing, especially with this generation and the way that the world is now. There's so much change that needs to happen. And there's so much change that can happen. The potential for change is so large because we are so interconnected and able to like speak out and speak to each other and organize and stuff like that. So I think it's really important because it's also like, it's also just a value of consumers nowadays, is that social change aspect. So I think if you're looking at it from that point of view, like that is just a value of people. So it is important to focus on. But aside from that, I just think everyone should be trying to, do better in all of their startups and everything every day, because, you can always have more change and more positive change. There's no like wall or like line where it stops. It's definitely one of the most important things.
Yeah. We should always, I always say at this question, at some point, people usually say, of course it's important, or of course I think about it, of course we should be doing good. But sometimes people are like, you don't have to. Like, you can start with building whatever idea it is, any example. And in a long ways down the road, you'll find yourself creating social change without even noticing that your platform has brought a bunch of positivity to someone's life. That could be your social change.
For sure.
Which I'm sure is what you're doing with, everyone, your audience that's with you and has been with you and will still be with you, even in college when there's less time. But they'll be there, and you're supporting someone, and I'm sure that they feel that support, which is greatly appreciated.
Sure. for sure.
Okay, so last question. You feel free to, turn off your brain because it's an easy one. Well, easy is kind of big. If you could have any superpower in the world, what would you pick?
Oh, oh goodness. um, sorry, I gotta think about this one.
Oh, take your time.
I'm really having to turn on my brain. um, I feel like an obvious answer would be like to go anywhere I wanted.
I
Um,
always say to teleport.
yeah, but I think like maybe a more in-depth answer would just to be able to like fix things, which would be like you can't just like, fix everything. I know that, but like um, I think just maybe being able to like uh talk to people on a level and find out what they need and being able to like give that to them regardless of like what it is, whether it's cool to just like maybe go around the world and like meet new people and meet different people, kind of maybe being like a genie or something, I don't know, like
Or like
where you can grant them like a wish.
just like
Yeah,
you have
maybe.
like, yeah, like I know what you need. Listen to me.
Yeah, like less of a like all involved, like obviously like I would love to end hunger, but I think it could be cool to do it on like an individual level too. So maybe that would be it. More of like an individual granting people's wishes.
Well, that
But yeah,
is
definitely it. Or to go anywhere in the world.
super original. I mean, I don't think we've heard this superpower yet. I like the fact that we're making up superpowers, and I like the fact that no one has said that they want to fly yet, because that's
See,
just
that's the first thing that came to my brain, and I was like, well,
no, don't.
no.
Yeah, I always think someone's gonna say fly, and flying is cool. I mean, let's fly. That sounds amazing,
Yeah.
but there has to be something better.
Yeah, I feel like teleporting, maybe you get the flying sensation.
Yeah.
So there,
I mean, I'm zapping somewhere, so that's true.
yeah, it's got to feel some sort of flying.
Well, Olivia, it was great getting to know you and what you do. I will be sure to put the link to your website and to your Instagram page in our description. Feel free to send it over, and I can't wait to see what you do next.
Thank you so much. I had so much fun, and I can't wait to see it.
I'm so happy to hear it.